Hello, good evening and welcome to Business Live. Coming up in this bulletin, country partner PwC Visha Shiagbo, optimistic proposed tax measures outlined in the 2025 budget will help government achieve the expected revenue target for this year.
I think the tax measures have been carefully thought through and are being carefully assessed. Now, everybody agrees that the VAT system needs to be overhauled, but that needs to be carefully assessed.
Also in this bulletin, economist Professor Peter Quartey warns government to look for more multilateral funding for financial support and not rush to the international capital market.
These days you hear we want to go to the capital market. You know, after the restructuring here, we are hoping very soon we finish the restructuring and be able to go to the capital market. Why the rush to go to the capital market? That is where we went to and we are having these problems. And you still want to quickly finish giving people haircuts and go to the capital market.
Plus, Consumer Protection Agency blames Parliament's refusal to pass the consumer bill into law for the proliferation of unwholesome and substandard goods on the Ghanaian market.
We've done enough for it to go to Parliament, have its first reading, have its second reading. It's unfortunate that the state does not see it necessary to pass the bill.
We have details of this and more lined up for you. Please stay. Thanks so much. You could stay on. I am Pius Kojobaka. And look now at our stories. Senior country partner at accounting firm PwC Ghana, Visha Shiagbo, has stated that the proposed tax measures outlined in the 2025 budget will help government achieve the expected revenue target. Finance Minister Dr. Atuforsen has proposed several initiatives, including increasing the growth and sustainability levy from 1% to 3% and undertaking some VAT reforms. Mr. Shiagbo, however, adds that the government must be firm on the reforms to attain the new target.
I think the tax measures have been carefully thought through and are being carefully assessed. So that is why you see, for example, the changes to the VAT regime have not been made immediately. Now, everybody agrees that the VAT system needs to be overhauled, but that needs to be carefully assessed because, as we've already said, it's a delicate balance. So again, I take the point that the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce made, that they had hoped that there would have been some immediate relief on that front. I don't think it's a trial and error thing. I think it's been carefully thought through. The increases that have been projected will take some doing, but if I read the narrative and the initiatives that they've put forward, I think it's possible, but it's a question of how effective we can get the implementation to run. On paper, it looks good, but implementation is always the key. So it's a matter of our collective will, the will of government, the will of the business community, the will of the citizens generally. But I think there's a real sense this time that something has to give. Now, if you take it all the way from what was in the government's or the current government's manifesto, the conversations we all had at the National Economic Dialogue, the consultations that the government went through in putting together this budget, I think that there's a general consensus that something has to give.
Economist Professor Peter Quartey has stressed the need for government to look for more multilateral funding instead of rushing back to the international capital market. He said government's attempt to push back to the capital market will further hurt the economy. He was speaking at his inaugural lecture yesterday at the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. Here's more.
I want to sound this caution. Borrow less from the capital market and at reasonable interest rates. These days you hear we want to go to the capital market. You know, after the restructuring, you hear we are hoping very soon we'll finish the restructuring and be able to go to the capital market. Why the rush to go to the capital market? That is where we went to and we are having these problems. And you still want to quickly finish giving people haircuts and go to the capital market. I think we should tread cautiously when it comes to borrowing, especially Eurobonds and those capital market funds. They are too expensive, it is not sustainable, and we ought to shy away from them. Let's get more multilateral funding, more domestic sources of funding. They are cheaper. Of course, if we don't diversify our exports and continue to produce and export things in their raw form, we will not get enough from export revenue. Our resources will continue to be challenged, and we will end up increasing our borrowing to finance investment.
As the world marks Consumer Day, the Consumer Protection Agency is blaming Parliament's failure to pass the long-awaited consumer bill for the rise in unwholesome and substandard goods in the Ghanaian market. The agency warns that the lack of a comprehensive consumer protection law has left a regulatory gap, allowing unscrupulous businesses to exploit consumers. Director of Consumer Mediation and Arbitration at CPA, Nana Prempe Eduhini, emphasized that a consumer bill, which has been stalled in Parliament, would provide a robust framework for protecting consumer rights and holding businesses accountable for their actions.
The bill before Parliament, the former Parliament, even the one before 2013, was sponsored by the Consumer Protection Agency. We paid for it fully for the draft to be done. We've done enough for it to go to Parliament, have its first reading, have its second reading. It's unfortunate that the state does not see it necessary to pass the bill. Probably I see that because the state also controls some of the institutions like the utility service providers who are always in loggerheads with consumers. Probably they think that when the consumer bill comes into effect, most of the things might go against the state itself, and therefore the reason why they are dragging their feet. But once, as I said, once you are a consumer and I am a consumer, if we bring our heads together and we say that, look, the time is now, pass the consumer bill so that at the end of the day I can be protected. My brother, you know, we have scattered bills that we claim are protecting consumers, but they are not doing that at all. If we have the consumer bill in place, so many things will change, so many lifestyles will change. There is no way any institution will allow a product to come into this country without going through the normal process, like the paints that we are talking about. If you do that, the consumer commissioner will charge even the officer, the CEO in charge of that place, will charge him responsible because he has the powers of a high court. You see, the Consumer Protection Agency cannot do this alone. We have done enough. We go to Parliament, we write to them, we meet select committees. We wish the bill is passed, but we cannot do it alone. That is why we are calling on the media houses that for now, let's hammer it. Give us more time on our airways. Let's talk about it. Let's sensitize our people and take them a look. Our parliamentarians, you are representing us. This is something that we need in this country. We have tried and tried and tried. I remember the last Parliament. If you remember, the Minister for Trade, made a definite statement in Parliament that this time the bill will be passed. We don't know what happened. We are back to square one again. So this time we are pleading. We are on our knees. We are pleading the President, we are pleading the Parliament of Ghana to pass this bill so that you and I can be protected. So that somebody cannot sit in a church and say that he has developed a product, name it and give it to people just to take what the FDA have not satisfied. If the bill is passed, nothing like this can be done in this country. I say that 50% of it is because once the bill is in place and is working, and we have the Consumer Commissioner working, my brother, a lot of these things that we are seeing, because you're the institution that will allow the product to come to this country, you will be surcharged. And therefore, everybody will sit up. Everybody will sit up. So it's one of the main reasons why we are having all this problem with our products and services.
A look at some other stories. The government of Ghana and the Japanese government have signed a $13.4 million grant for the Tamale Power Stabilization Project. The project will see the construction of a new power transition installation, which will reduce power outages and minimize costs associated with the distribution of power in Tamale. The following report has more.
$13.4 million grant will see the construction of a new primary substation, control room, and installation of equipment and its interconnected sub-transmission lines in Tamale. The project, dubbed the Stabilization of Power Supply in Tamale City, is expected to improve power supply to the Tamale Central Hospital, the Central Market, several educational facilities, and adjoining rural communities. On behalf of the Ghanaian government, Minister for Finance, Dr. Kasiel Atoforsen, expressed gratitude for the facility and called for the speedy construction of the Volivo Bridge.
Let me thank you so much on behalf of the government of the Republic of Ghana and the Ministry of Finance for the assistance you have provided to the people of Ghana over the years. Our cooperation between these two countries has been excellent over the years. We've had great moments of cooperation from the embassy and JICA. Today is another opportunity to cement our relationship, where you are offering us $13.4 million. for the purposes of the Tamale power stabilization. Another matter of significant importance to us as a government has to do with the construction of the volleyball bridge. I also want to use this opportunity to inform you that the volleyball bridge is a top priority of the Mahama administration. And it's our hope that we'll use this year to finish all the preparatory work.
On her part, Suzuki Momoko, chief representative at the Japan International Cooperation Agency, expressed her country's commitment to strengthen the bilateral relationship between the two countries.
This event is very symbolic and significant as it will cement the diplomatic exchange of the note signed on 10th March 2025 between the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Japanese ambassador. This is JICA's new development project following the Tema motorway interchange, which was completed last month, and will be our second project with NEDCO in Tamale after the power distribution project in Tamale and Sunyani implemented and commissioned in 2015.
The project, which is expected to be completed in 2 days, will minimize the power outages in Tamale and CO2 emissions from the power stations.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Simon Maggi, says the center is working to support local investors to take up opportunities created by the government. According to him, there are key measures put in place to fast-track operations at the center. Here's more in this report.
The special reception organized by the American Chamber of Commerce Ghana was to honor the new GIPC boss, Simon Maggi, for his exceptional service to AmCham for the last 16 years. Speaking to Joy Business, Mr. Maggi reiterated that measures are being put in place to support investors.
Well, indeed, I am excited about the budget and economic statement. And I believe that our country is indeed open for business because, one, the minister promised to review the GIPC law, to reflect the AFCFTA protocol on investment and also to reflect government's drive to encourage investment into agribusiness, into the manufacturing sector, into the pharmaceutical sector, and into the 24-hour economy, as promised by His Excellency the President. The minister has also pledged to rationalize the taxes. He spoke about having some expertise to deal with VAT, and that will help businesses a lot. So, in my opinion, the country is open for business. All sectors of the economy is open up for business. The president himself has pledged to lead the drive to bring in investment into the country. And most importantly, we at GIPC are also ready to help our local investors to take advantage of the opportunities that will be created.
Acting Executive Secretary of the American Chamber of Commerce, Jane Eduachi, said the chamber is working to increase its trade volumes.
Simon has led a very incredible life at AmCham. And we are very, very, very proud to have him. So it's also another time to also welcome our members on board. This is 2025, so that's what we do. At AmCham, we welcome our members every year. We had to just do this together, to celebrate our members and then to also honor our own Simon.
The gathering brought together prominent business leaders and key stakeholders to honor Simon Maggi.
You're still watching Business Live. We are back with more. Hello, welcome back to Business Live. The head of mission for the Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council, John Appiah, is calling for more investments into digital infrastructure that will ease the burden of cross-border payments. Africa faces significant financial losses annually due to high costs and inefficiencies in cross-border money transfers. However, in a bid to reduce these losses, the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, known as PAPS, has been outlawed to allow direct transactions in African currencies. So far, only 8 countries, including Ghana, have signed onto the scheme, raising concerns about the future of the system. Commenting on the development on foreign affairs, John Appiah urged parties to the PAPS to keep up with transactions, as he firmly believes more countries will sign up.
There's in terms of geography, the train tracks always stopped somewhere, so that there was no connectivity between. What we are doing with technology is that we're still using rails. It might not be railroads, but it's a different type of digital rails that we're using to crisscross the continent. So the African Continental Free Trade is based on rails. Right. It has to run on particular rails. PAPS is one of those rails. And PAPS is already starting to work. We're being able to send money across board so that if I'm in Ghana and I want to buy something in Nigeria, I don't have to now convert cedi to dollar, dollar to naira. You know, that loses about, I think the number is like 5 billion or so a year. I'm dealing from my central bank to your central bank. So I think we're seeing the beginning of the end of what we've usually seen. We're seeing the beginning of there being, once you build the rails, the cars and the trains will pass on it.
Only in eight African countries so far.
8 African countries, but you see, everything, a bit of bread starts with a little bit of yeast, right? Yeah, let those 8 African countries start trading among themselves. Let's start seeing the change in their GDP, and no one will tell the other countries to join. Commonwealth has 56 countries now. It started off from the British Empire, colonies of the British Empire. The newest additions, Gabon and Togo, French speaking, they were not part of the British Empire. Why are they joining? Why did Rwanda join? Why did Gabon join? Why did Togo join? They saw something. You know, if you do something so good and people are seeing the benefit of it, you don't have to beg all the other countries to come on.
The Ghana Institution of Engineering has inducted 148 professional engineers at its 45th induction ceremony. President of the institution, Kwabena Bempong, at the induction ceremony urged the inductees to explore other areas and be more strategic in the operations. Here's more.
The Ghana Institution of Engineering inducted some 148 new members made up of 54 civil engineers, 20 mechanical and agri engineers, 23 chemical mining engineers, and 51 electrical and electronic engineers. Out of these number, 134 candidates participated in various professional engineering examinations held in October and November 2024, whilst 14 participated in a confirmation hearing in January 2025, making 148 professional engineers. Engineer Kwabena Bempong urged the new inductees to work and explore other areas to support their careers.
Not to be part of the challenges or the problems, but a solution-oriented practitioner who brings relief, comfort, and make life worth living for our fellow countrymen and women. Furthermore, I encourage you all to engage actively in national discourse on infrastructure, development, and politics. Your voice is needed to influence policy and drive the strategic initiatives that will shape the future of our nation. Through active participation in the activities of GHIE, and I must say something here. A lot of us think that this is just a rite of passage or a rite of passage. Get your license or get your sum, and that is the end of your marriage with GHIE.
The Ghana Institution of Engineering also called on all engineering practitioners to actively participate in the activities of the institution, especially the upcoming engineering conference and annual general meeting scheduled to begin from 24th March through to 29th March 2025.
I would want you to ensure that you actively participate in the activities of the Ghana Institution of Engineering. Because in doing so, you have the opportunity to network with like-minded professionals. You exchange ideas and learn from those who have paved the way before you. Lifelong learning and professionalism are essential in the fast-paced and ever-evolving world of engineering. And therefore, I urge you to immerse yourself into exploring new ideas and exposing yourself to new knowledge.
And that's it for Business Live for today. I am Pius Kojo Baka. We have more for you when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Next is Beyond the Numbers. Guess what? We are talking about BOG financials. Do stay on.